So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, here's a guy in a suit, and he's a banker, and I have to sit here for 15 minutes and listen to him. I promise you I'm not going to talk about banking. It's just a pretty boring topic. And you know, this is just the uniform is all this is what I have to do. So let's get that out of the way. I'd like to talk about 1 Million Cups. And 1 Million Cups is a platform to support entrepreneurs. So before I go into detail on that, I'd like to ask the guys to key up a brief video. Okay, I really like that intro. We play that every week at our event, and I think it kind of sets the tone for what we're trying to do. 1 Million Cups is a platform to support entrepreneurs, provide them resources, connect with people, and information. And I think in my bio, I think it noted that as I was talking to Jason about coming on as an organizer, and Jason is one of our organizers now, and we also have LaDonna Griner in the audience, who's on our advisory board and a former organizer, one of our key organizers. So thanks to her for being here. I'm sure if I say something wrong, she's going to correct me when we get to the question and answer period. But 1 Million Cups, we look at it as a church service for entrepreneurs. And I think that's what I used to get Jason to agree to come on board with us. And I think it was that church piece that got him to where he's at. The event is every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. at the Springfield Art Museum. And we bring on 2 entrepreneurs every Wednesday morning, and they present for 6 to 8 minutes. Then there's 20 minutes of Q&A from the audience, and then we turn around and do it again. We do this for 1 hour. We do it 48 weeks out of the year, and it is a huge time commitment for the organizers, and it's a very rewarding experience for the organizers, but it's a huge time commitment. Let's go back a little bit. The Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City, I think you've all heard of the Kauffman Foundation, supports education and entrepreneurship. In 2012, they decided that the entrepreneurship community in Kansas City in particular, and probably all across the country, was fragmented. Entrepreneurs were all doing their own thing, and there was a need to bring these people together. So they started an event very similar to what we're all doing in all the 1MC communities around the country, to be a safe, supportive place for entrepreneurs to come in. They started in 2012. We started in 2014 in Springfield, and I think there were 23 to 24 locations at that point. Fast forward to today, and I think there's over 180 locations around the country that run a 1MC operation. So it has really taken off. Fortunately, because of great organizers like LaDonna and Jason, we've got one of the better 1MC operations in the country. And as I said, the purpose is to build and support the entrepreneurial community. And every community is a little different on this, but the question I always come back to is, what is an entrepreneur? You know, the classical definition is anyone that takes a financial risk. We narrow it down slightly. We like to look at companies that are 5 years or less in age. We like businesses that are scalable. Really, because that's the growth, that's the job, that's where the jobs come from. But I'm from Licking, Missouri originally, came here in 1976 and stayed around. Primarily in the banking business, but I owned my own manufacturing company for a while and a few other things on the side as well. So even though we limit the definition of entrepreneurship, let's face it, we are all, most of us in some way or another, entrepreneurs. Whether you've got 200 acres and you're running beef cattle on it, whether you're in the, quote, gig economy right now, where you're doing something on the side, whether you may be doing social media and all the other things that go on there. So even though we narrow it down some, I think if you're an entrepreneur, I think you need to come out to our event because I think you would get a lot out of it. As I noted earlier, it started in 2012, and in January 2019 there were 180 locations everywhere. I think we're in every state in the country right now, and I think a couple of maybe Puerto Rico, and I can't remember the other country that they're looking at. Rick Thomas, Devin Dillon, and myself were the initial organizers who founded 1MC Springfield in February. It took a lot of planning and a lot of work, like anything does. And again, we're very fortunate for the Springfield community to embrace what we did. And again, we couldn't do it on our own. We've had approximately 15 other people that have been in our organization that have been very instrumental in making this happen. And I got into my presentation before. I said, what great presentations we've had so far this morning. I think it's really great. I was telling Jason backstage, I really hated that every one of them did a really nice job and spoke really well. You know, I was hoping to kind of take it up a notch. That's not going to happen. I also know that I do a fair amount of public speaking, but the one skill I don't have is that, you know how some people can talk about things and they've got this smile on their face almost, right? They've got that joyous look. And my daughter told me one time, you know, Dad, you're a little bit intense up there. Could you just lighten up a little bit? So I know that inside the smile is going on and that there's joy here. Just a couple of things about our Springfield operation. We're the only 1 million cup in the country that does dry runs. And what that means is we ask our entrepreneurs to come in on Monday afternoon at the Art Museum, and we take a look at their presentation, and we offer them feedback, make sure their timing hits the mark. And these great people here wanted me to do all that. And just like some people, entrepreneurs don't comply with what I request them to do, I didn't comply with what they asked me to do. So I apologize for that. Also, we're the only 1MC with an advisory board. And again, I think it's the collegial atmosphere we've tried to create to keep all the organizers together after they've kind of done their one-year term and then they've fallen off, and we bring on people like Jason and other people to help run the program. Our 5-year anniversary we had in February this year, and LaDonna Griner, who I mentioned earlier, was the ramrod of that 5-year anniversary with Jack Stack, and she did a fabulous job. Made all the other organizers look really, really good because we had over 350 people at the Springfield Art Museum to celebrate entrepreneurship. So what are the numbers? Jason mentioned we've had over 400 companies on stage over the last almost 6 years. And, getting those companies, finding those companies is a time-consuming effort because a lot of people don't like to get up and talk in front of people. A lot of times people don't feel like they don't want to share those ideas. They feel like someone will steal them. So occasionally we have issues in getting the appropriate people to get up on our stage and talk. But when they do, I think they see the immediate benefits of doing that. We serve free coffee at our event, and I will say it's a free event. We don't charge anybody for anything. The entrepreneurs don't pay anything to attend. There's no cost either. We've served over 15,000 cups of coffee. We have a coffee sponsor who provides our coffee for free. Thousands of people have been touched by the platform. We've got a database of around 1,500 names. And I tell people, We don't sell those. I may inadvertently give it away, but I don't sell that list. And our average weekly attendance is somewhere in the vicinity of 70 to 100 people. Sometimes we'll have 120, sometimes we'll have 60. We get a lot of students from MSU, Evangel, OTC, and we really enjoy having those entrepreneurship classes come in and listen to the presenters. Types of companies we highlight, again, startup, profit, or non-for-profit entities. We want them to be scalable, again, because we would like to get someone there that has the ability to grow and hopefully add jobs. But we also reach out to older companies. If you're, say, an entrepreneur that's buying an existing company and you want to present, we want you on our stage. If you're in an older company and you're doing something different internally that you'd like to talk about, we also like to have people on the stage. And also, occasionally we will bring people in that we feel like add a certain amount of education to both our people in our audience and also entrepreneurs, just as an educational arm. Just quickly, the benefits of presenting, what we have found, it's exposure in the community, it's feedback from other business owners and professionals, great connections, it's help in management, marketing, funding, and it's also practice in pitching your business, because a lot of these folks are not necessarily looking for bank financing, they're looking for investor financing. So they've got to be able to get in a room with several people and to talk cogently about what they're trying to do. Specific impacts. And I'm going to stop saying here in a minute. Distributorship connections. We've had a lot of people come in and are really struggling with trying to get that next level of connection. We've had people in the audience that said, hey, get with me afterwards because I've got a contact for you. Investors. We've had several people that have presented where they have obtained venture capital funding. We have a lot of management consultants, business advisors in our audience that they come to look for business, but they also offer a lot of free advice. And every week we have suggestions from the crowd in how to solve problems. And that's one of the things we always ask our presenters to do is the people that get the best traction are the people that present a problem, that are transparent with regard to something they're lacking in. If you come up and you try to tell everyone all the great things you're doing and you appear to have it all figured out, then you don't get much play from the audience. So you really need to show your vulnerabilities. And one of the things that we get asked a lot is, why do we do this as far as the organizers? And when we started Springfield, we met in my tool shed in the backyard with a stove in it and kicked it around in October of 2013. And had to really check ourselves. Is this something we want to go down the road on, and why? But I think, and it's not the money because no one gets paid. You need to have a business that you work for, you run, that's going to allow you to spend 3 to 4 to 5 hours a week putting on this show, as we call it, the show. But most people love helping new businesses. I think they get a kick out of seeing something new. That's one great thing about what we do. Where there's always something new in our platform. I think there's also a feeling of a big extended family. The entrepreneurship life is tough. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's really fragmented. So what we try to do at 1 Million Cups is try to go out there and put your arms around people and to at least provide them as the Kaufman Foundation envisioned, a safe, supportive space to get better connections and also to hopefully solve some problems. It's a cool platform, and it's a way to give back to the community. And I think all the organizers that have been involved in this really enjoy doing that. So, why is entrepreneurship important? You know, why should we care? Why should we invest in that? And again, from my position, you know, it's the basis of our free enterprise system. And as someone said a long time ago, you know, capitalism is a really bad system. Unfortunately, it beats everything else. So I think we have to acknowledge that to some degree. And for me, one of the compelling reasons to invest in this is jobs, and the net new jobs every quarter in this country. A substantial portion of those net new jobs, it's not due to old companies. It's really due to new companies. And I think that is a key thing to think about. Now, I'm not saying that those jobs are high-paying necessarily or without risk. They certainly are. But the net new jobs in this country are hugely impacted by new firms. There's lots of risk in starting new companies. I think we all get that. And, you know, hopefully 1 Million Cups can help alleviate just some of that. But, you know, the risk components in starting a business, and I've been on the other side of the table. I make commercial loans now for a living, and I know there's another banker in the audience here too. Where's he at? I saw him earlier. There he is. He knows. But there's a financial risk in the entrepreneurship. Pretty obvious, loss of capital, too much debt. There's a quality of life issue, less free time, stress. There's reputational risk. What if I fail? What are people going to think about me? How's that going to impact my next move? Also family issues, you know. Did I say for richer or poorer? I think I did. I think you all did too. How does that work out if things don't go well? And a significant number of the companies that we have on our stage are not in business today. You know, we don't do a really great job at tracking because there's just a lot of data that flows through our operation. And again, no one gets paid. We work off of a platform provided by the Kaufman Foundation, which works really well. But they really leave us alone to do our thing in Springfield. But we do know, just by looking at our database, that a lot of the firms are no longer in business. We would like to impact that number to the positive. And I guess in trying to finish up here, you know, why? At the end of the day, you know, it's jobs. It's an expanding job market, makes everything better in our community. You know, I think that the energy that entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs bring, I think, is important. It's really hard to quantify that. If you come to 1 Million Cups on Wednesday mornings, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. And I have a note here. It says it's energy in the community, the fuel, the ribeye steak. You can kind of see what I like to eat. But what kind of jobs? You know, Jack Vogel, the founder of the Vanguard Group, which Jack recently died at 90-some years old. He's a friend of Warren Buffett's. At a commencement address a few years ago, said, you know, as he felt like the obvious in stating this, we're moving, or so it seems, to a world where we are no longer making anything in this country. We are merely trading pieces of paper, swapping stocks and bonds back and forth with one another. You know, the finance sector has become the largest generator of corporate profits in the U.S. Probably will stay that way. But as a banker myself, I always ask, you know, is that sustainable? Is that a good thing? You know, what's good for our country? I believe that it's important for us to make things. And there's been a resurgence of that. We can't outsource our manufacturing base and continue to do that. A good manufacturing base supports all the service industries, supports all kinds of job growth. We all can't be bankers, insurance agents, attorneys, teachers, what have you. There's lots of different jobs out there. They're all valued. They're all important. And I think we need to take a really hard look at making sure that we're investing in America. And specifically, from my point of view, in the manufacturing sector. And I'm hopeful that in a small way, 1 Million Cups has a piece of that. It's obviously manufacturing or creating things is kind of one of my things. I ran a manufacturing operation, and I know one thing: it's a whole lot harder to run a manufacturing company than it is a bank, because I've run banks before. So kudos to anybody that's out there running a manufacturing company. So, hopefully we can help the new manufacturers, the new tech startups, the food delivery people, food companies, and not so much that entrepreneurs will make $1 million. I mean, I hope they do. I hope he or she makes tons of money. But, it's really the fabric of the community and that dynamic job growth that I think is important. That makes everything better. So, in conclusion, and I guess I can't state this strongly enough, but let's support and celebrate the risk takers, the people that take the risk to generate the jobs. I think that's a very laudable thing for people to do, and I think our country has always done that, and I think 1 Million Cups hopefully will continue in that vein. So thank you very much.